This is the America the world thinks it knows. The non-stop neon glow of the Las Vegas Strip, a river of humanity flowing between colossal casinos and unbelievable shows. It's the sun-drenched shores of Miami's South Beach, a vibrant explosion of culture and music, packed with visitors from every part of the planet. For decades, these weren't just cities. They were global symbols of fun and escape, powered by millions of people bringing their dreams and their wallets to the United States. But what happens when the party just stops? This isn't a recession. It's not some new global shutdown. It's a quiet, worldwide rebellion against a single line item on a government form, a new $250 fee. A fee that has millions of potential tourists looking at the price of an American vacation and simply saying, no thanks. Today we're going past the headlines and onto the streets of Miami and Las Vegas, two of America's most iconic destinations, now finding themselves on the front line of a devastating tourism crisis. We're here to show you the real cost, not just in the billions of dollars of lost revenue, but in the empty hotel rooms, the silent restaurants, and the lives of the people who depend on the tourists who just aren't coming anymore. This is the story of how a $250 charge is threatening to turn bustling American hotspots into modern-day ghost towns. The $250 wall, understanding the visa integrity fee. So, what exactly is this fee that's causing such a firestorm? On July 4th, 2025, a new piece of legislation called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act was signed into law. Tucked inside was a detail that is now sending shockwaves through the entire travel industry: the visa integrity fee. Set to kick in on October 1st, 2025, this new rule tacks a $250 surcharge onto the existing application fees for most non-immigrant visas. For a tourist or business traveler, this jacks up the initial non-refundable cost of just applying for a visa from $185 to over $435. Now imagine you're a family of 4 from India or Brazil. You're suddenly looking at an extra $1,000 in fees before you've even booked a flight. Now the government says the fee is technically refundable, but here's the catch that has everyone worried. You can only claim the refund after your visa expires, which could be 10 years down the road, and only if you've followed every single rule. No overstaying, not even for a day. No unauthorized work. The process for actually getting your money back is so unclear that the Congressional Budget Office expects it to be a massive revenue generator for the government, partly because they anticipate that many people will simply never claim their refund. Because of this, travel experts are telling people to just assume they're never getting that $250 back. Think of it less like a deposit and more like a new, very high price of admission. What this policy has done is create a two-tiered system for visiting America. If you're from one of the 42 wealthy countries in the visa waiver program, places like the UK, Japan, or Germany, you don't have to worry about this. But for billions of people across Latin America, Asia, and Africa, this $250 fee is a brand new wall, and it's proving to be just as effective as a physical one. The national crisis, an unprecedented tourism slump. The impact wasn't slow, it was immediate, and it was brutal. Even before the fee officially started, the chilling effect was being felt everywhere. Major industry groups like the World Travel and Tourism Council began issuing stark warnings, with some economic models projecting staggering losses in international visitor spending for 2025. One analysis even suggested that number could hit $12.5 billion. While global travel is booming everywhere else, this projection puts the U.S. in a grim, lonely category. The only major country expected to see tourism numbers go down this year. Just think about that. While other countries are rolling out the welcome mat, The United States is effectively putting up a sign that says you might want to go somewhere else. Original forecasts for 2025 showed healthy growth. Now, some have been reversed to project a steep decline in arrivals. This isn't just a number on a spreadsheet, it's a verdict from the rest of the world. It's a vote of no confidence from millions of families and business travelers who are now looking at the US and seeing a country that's either too expensive or too unwelcoming. That sentiment, once just a whisper among concerned union leaders, is now being called the Trump slump on the ground in the hardest hit areas. It's a feeling driven by a strong dollar in politics, but this new fee was the tipping point, a clear, tangible reason for travelers to take their money and their vacation plans somewhere else. And to really understand what that means, you have to go to the places on the front line. First stop, Las Vegas. Case study 1, Las Vegas, the ghost town of entertainment. There's no city on earth that runs on the illusion of effortless fun quite like Las Vegas. But in the summer of 2025, that illusion is starting to crack. The constant electric buzz of the Strip now has an unnerving new sound mixed in: silence. The numbers, according to early industry reports, are stark. In June 2025, total visitor volume in Vegas reportedly fell by 11.3% compared to last year. Even more worrying for the city's bottom line, the number of high-spending international visitors dropped by a reported 13%. For a city built on a global clientele filling its 150,000 hotel rooms, this is a 5-alarm fire. Hotel occupancy in June sank to just under 79%, a significant dip from the usual hustle. We talked to a bartender right on the Strip who asked to stay anonymous. "You feel it when the international crowd is gone," he told us. "The energy's different. The spending is definitely different. My tips are down, maybe 40%. The groups that used to fly in from Mexico or the UK and drop real money for a week, they're gone." His story is being echoed by the city's powerful unions. Ted Papageorge of the Culinary Union, which represents 60,000 Vegas workers, has been blunt, calling it the Trump slump. He stated, "If you tell the whole world that they're not welcome, they're not going to come." Union members, from housekeepers to cooks, are reporting layoffs and slashed hours. You can even see the trend from 30,000 feet. Canada is Nevada's biggest international market, but airlines are now reporting shocking drops in traffic to Vegas. Reports suggest Air Canada saw its numbers fall over 13% from May to June, while one budget carrier noted a catastrophic drop in passengers. And while most Canadian tourists are exempt from the fee, it slams Canadian permanent residents from other countries. More than that, it feeds a powerful story that the US is closing its doors. A story that's clearly making even our closest neighbors think twice. From the high-limit tables to the souvenir shops, the story is the same. Fewer people, less money, and a rising tide of anxiety. The city built on calculated risk is now facing a crisis that nobody saw coming, all because an American vacation has become too expensive of a bet. Case study 2, Miami, paradise postponed. Let's go from the desert to the ocean. If Vegas is America's playground, Miami is its global crossroads, a city that thrives on its deep connections to Latin America and Europe. But right now, those connections are being strained to the breaking point. For the first time since 2017, outside of the pandemic, passenger traffic at Miami International Airport is down. Local reports show international arrivals fell by 1.7% in the first half of 2025. That might not sound like a lot, but it represents hundreds of thousands of people who didn't fly into Miami. This isn't just a blip on a chart, it's a crisis playing out in real time. The $250 visa fee has hit visitors from Latin America especially hard. Countries like Colombia, Miami, Dade's top source of foreign tourists in 2024, Brazil and Argentina, aren't in the visa waiver program. For middle-class families there, the cost to even apply for a visa has more than doubled, making a trip to Miami a fantasy instead of a plan. The pain is trickling down through the entire local economy. We spoke to a restaurant owner in Little Havana. "This is the worst summer I can remember," she said. "We depend on tourists from Colombia, from Venezuela, from Peru. They come here for a taste of home. How can they come when the government wants so much money just to walk in the door? I had to let 2 people go. It breaks my heart." You hear that story all over the county. From luxury shops to tour boats, business is down. Hotels that were enjoying record highs are now seeing demand fall off. Some are pushing up renovations, a classic industry trick to reduce room inventory and hide the dropping occupancy rates, shifting their focus entirely to the super rich. Even for a city as vibrant as Miami, this is a profound shock. A destination that just welcomed a record number of visitors is now facing a future where its key customers are being priced out. The sun is still shining, but a dark economic cloud is gathering right over the city. The ripple effect, more than just a number. It's easy to get lost in the huge numbers. Billions in lost spending, hundreds of thousands, fewer travelers. But the real story of this crisis is in the small, devastating ripples that flow out from that first impact. It's a chain reaction of economic pain that starts at the airport and ends at a worker's kitchen table. And think about it like this. A family from Mexico who now has to pay an extra $1,000 in visa fees cancels their trip to Miami. That's 1 less hotel room booked, 1 less dinner reservation made, 1 less boat tour taken, and 1 less shopping trip at the mall. The restaurant has fewer tables, so it lays off a waiter. The tour company parks one of its buses, and the driver is out of a job. But the ripple doesn't stop there. That laid-off waiter has less money to spend at the grocery store. The housekeeper cuts back on anything that isn't essential. Their lost income means less tax revenue for the city. And that's the next ripple. Potential cuts to public services. Less tax money can eventually mean less funding for schools, for road repairs, for the very things that make a city a great place to visit in the first place. It's a vicious cycle. And it's the small family-owned businesses that are most at risk. They don't have the cash reserves of a giant casino. A sustained drop in customers isn't just a bad quarter for them, it's a fight for survival. This is the human cost of the $250 fee. It isn't just punishing potential visitors, it's directly hurting American workers and their communities. It's a policy supposedly about security that is gutting the economy of some of America's most treasured cities. We're seeing a clear picture of the economic damage, but there's still a huge debate about the idea behind it. The government says this is about security and making sure people follow visa rules. Opponents say it's an economic wall that hurts everybody, so I have to ask you, is this $250 fee a necessary security tool, or is it a catastrophic economic mistake? I really want to know what you think. Drop your opinion in the comments below. The global backlash and a looming disaster. While America is dealing with this crisis at home, it's just as important to see how this looks to the rest of the world. The truth is, global travel is a cutthroat competition, and right now America is losing. As the US adds fees and hurdles, other countries are doing the exact opposite. They're making visas easier to get, launching slick ad campaigns, and rolling out the red carpet for the very tourists America seems to be pushing away. The message from Europe and Asia is welcome, while the message from the US is pay up. This is happening at the worst possible time. In 2026, the US is co-hosting the FIFA World Cup, the biggest sporting event on the planet. It's a massive opportunity to showcase the country and welcome hundreds of thousands of international fans. But this new visa fee is raising huge alarm bells, with travel associations warning that it's like a new tax on those very fans. Imagine fans from soccer-crazy nations like Colombia or Nigeria having to pay this extra fee just to come support their teams. The policy could turn a moment of global unity into a PR nightmare. This also does long-term damage to America's soft power, its cultural influence. When students, families, and entrepreneurs decide to go to Canada or the UK because it's cheaper and more welcoming, the US loses more than just money. It loses the cultural exchange, the business ideas, and the goodwill that these visits create for years to come. So the real question is whether this is just a self-inflicted wound that will heal, or if it marks a permanent change in how the world travels. Has the United States, with a single policy, given up its title as the world's top travel destination? What we're seeing in Las Vegas and Miami is more than a temporary slump. It's a real-time experiment in economic policy gone terribly wrong. A single controversial $250 fee has slammed the brakes on an industry that supports millions of American jobs. We've seen the lights of the Vegas Strip dimming as visitor numbers fall and workers lose their shifts. We've seen Miami's international pulse weaken as tourists from its most vital markets are priced out. This isn't a story about statistics, it's a story about people. The bartender watching his tips vanish. The restaurant owner in Miami forced to let go of staff she considers family. And the millions of would-be visitors who now feel that the American dream simply isn't worth the new price of admission. The ripples of this decision are spreading, threatening to create a tourism drought that could permanently change these iconic American cities. And it leaves you wondering, is this just a painful temporary lesson in what not to do? Or have we just watched the beginning of the end for America's reign as the world's top destination? For more stories that show how global policies affect real people, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.